There it is again, that small tightening in your chest. Not pain exactly, more like your ribcage decided to hold its breath without asking. You haven't even opened the message yet, you just saw the name. Mom, Dad, the family group chat, and somewhere between your throat and your stomach, something clenched shut like a fist, closing around a secret you've been keeping from yourself for years. You're standing in your own kitchen, in your own home, and your body just went into a mode it usually reserves for actual danger. Palms a little damp, jaw locked half a millimeter tighter than 10 seconds ago. That calendar notification, Sunday dinner, 5 o'clock, it hasn't even happened yet. It's just words on a screen, but your body is already living it. Picture this. You're 35. You pay your own mortgage. People at work call you by your last name because you've earned that respect. And then you walk through your parents' front door, and something behind your eyes just shifts. Your dad says one thing at the dinner table. Maybe it's about your career. Maybe it's about your choices. It doesn't even matter what the words are. Your shoulders climb toward your ears, and suddenly you're not the person who closed a deal last Tuesday. You're 14 again, slamming doors inside your own skull. That's not a metaphor. Your brain is literally running old software. The neural pathways that formed while you were still figuring out who you were. Hey, they never got deleted. They just went quiet. And the second you sit in that same chair, at that same table, across from the same face that made you feel small at 12, those circuits fire like nothing ever changed. Every family hands out roles early. The responsible one, the difficult one, the one who keeps the peace by swallowing everything whole. You outgrew that part years ago. But nobody in that room got the memo. Your mother still watches you like you can't handle a sharp knife. Your sibling still jabs at you like you're both fighting over something that stopped existing in 2003. And the part that actually cuts, you play along. Not because you're weak, because those grooves in your nervous system run so deep. Your conscious mind doesn't even get a vote. I'm curious, what's the one comment from your family that instantly sends you back to being a teenager? Because I guarantee you already know exactly which sentence it is. But here's the thing, that automatic regression is only half the story. You drove home after the last one and sat in your car for 10 minutes before going inside, not because you were physically tired, you barely left the couch. But something behind your eyes felt completely hollow, like someone had scooped out whatever keeps you upright. That wrung-out sensation isn't laziness. It's the receipt for 3 straight hours of performance you never agreed to give. Think about what you were actually doing in that room. You laughed at things that weren't funny. You steered around conversational landmines you've memorized by heart. You tracked your uncle's tone, your mother's expression, your own posture, all running at the same time. Every few seconds, another quiet calculation. Who's about to say something dangerous? How do I react so nobody spirals? Where's the nearest door if this goes sideways? That's not family time. That's emotional surveillance. And your nervous system charges you for it. The same way it charges you for a 12-hour shift. Because to your brain, it was one. Here's the part that really stings though. These people knew you before you learned how to do any of this. They remember the version of you that hadn't figured out how to hide yet. So underneath all that room management, a quieter fear keeps running. That one unguarded flinch, one honest pause. And they'll see straight through everything you've built since then. That ache you carry home from a family dinner, the one lodged in your ribs for days, isn't guilt. It isn't sensitivity, it's your brain registering real injury. Neuroscience mapped this clearly. When you measure yourself against a cousin who just closed on a house while you're splitting rent 3 ways, the brain regions that fire are the same ones that activate when you break a bone. Physical pain and social comparison share neural territory. And that question was never really about work. How's work is a way in. Seeing anyone is an audit. You look different is a verdict wearing a smile. Festinger identified this decades ago. We compulsively rank ourselves against the people nearest to us. Family gatherings don't just allow that ranking, they engineer it. Now layer something else on top. You've spent years building boundaries everywhere else in your life. You don't answer your boss at midnight. You don't hand strangers your house keys. But the second you walk through your parents' front door, every fence you built becomes a suggestion. Your dating life turns into group discussion. Your career becomes a committee decision. And none of it registers as intrusion. It's packaged as concern. When a boundary violation wears the costume of love, you can't push back without looking ungrateful, so you absorb it. And each time you do, something fundamental erodes, your sense of control over your own story. Psychologists flag that as one of the deepest threats to well-being. Not because control means power, because control means safety. Start with the simplest move you've probably never given yourself permission to make. Leave early, not storm out. Just quietly decide before you even walk through that door exactly how long you're staying. 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever your system can handle. Before the chest gets tight, set a timer on your phone if you have to. When it goes off, you go. No explanation longer than 2 sentences. That's not rude, that's a perimeter. Next, shrink the arena. You don't have to attend the full production. Maybe your version of family time is 40 minutes of coffee, with the one cousin who actually sees you, instead of 6 hours of performing gratitude at a table, full of people who confuse proximity with closeness. You get to choose the format. You always did, you just forgot. And here's the one that's going to feel uncomfortable. Book the hotel, drive your own car, keep your phone charged with someone you trust one text away. These aren't escape plans for a coward. These are exit strategies for someone who finally understands that their mental health is not a ticket price for belonging. Nothing about this requires anger. Nothing requires a speech. You just stop handing your nervous system over to people who never learned how to hold it gently. You show up on your terms, or you don't show up at all. Something shifts once you stop performing comfort you never actually felt. Not because the room changed, because you stopped asking permission to protect your own nervous system. That's not cold. That's someone who decided their peace isn't negotiable.